Hello, folks. How's it going? So I wanted to show off, let people know what's going on. It seems like whenever there's a rework on a champion, generally speaking, like the developers don't really do a very good job of letting the players know, okay, this is how you play the champion now, basically. Um, Back when Vagar got his rework, um, everyone still just plays him as AP, and even today they kind of just play him as AP. Um, but I haven't been doing that myself. Okay, I was like trying to get my chest with Leon. I was like, whatever. I actually already got it, didn't I? Or maybe I didn't. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't. I got A few times. Yeah, I got a couple victories. Well, I mean, I got some chests. I got a chest with, what was it, Vagar? Yeah, I got a chest with Vagar. So, anyways, see, look at this Vagar build, right? There's no AP in it. And that's how you're supposed to play new Vagar. Because the idea is you just build up your passive. That's literally all you do. So, like, you just get your AP. You just farm it, like, harassing the enemy, essentially. Killing minions. And so you just build very defensively, that way you stay alive. If you're still alive, you're still on the battlefield, that means you can keep on, doing your thing, you keep farming up. So actually, you actually need a certain mastery page, though, as well. I would say, yeah, this one's good here. Okay, a couple of key masteries here are Meditation and Storm Raider Surge. Now, I've tried this one, but I mean, like, if you're playing support, it's fine, but um like you kind of need precision, I guess, to do more damage, which isn't necessarily important. You can still win if you're playing support Vagar with intelligence. It's just that it's going to be harder for you to get higher grade if you don't take the damage mastery. Anyways, so with the extra movement speed, it actually helps your survivability a lot, so that's something to keep in mind. um Actually, I guess if you're playing support Vagar, you could probably increase your grade even higher by taking Green Father's Gift. Okay, so keep that in mind. Green Father's Gift, pretty helpful because it'll allow you to do more damage over the course of the game. In a 9-second cooldown, decent. Especially, well, actually, it's just something you could consider to take even if your lane opponent's just tank. But whatever, that's Vagar, right? You see the tank Vagar works, and I've been doing it. Well, I didn't immediately start doing it, but I figured out that that's how you play the new Vagar, and so I've been doing it ever since. Um, of course, I will sometimes get like a Void Staff and or a Death Cap, but usually I don't need those two items. Those would be the only two AP items you'd ever want to consider buying on Vagar. First the Void Staff, and if you're still not doing enough damage, then you get the Death Cap. So, where was I? Yeah, so I've been playing some Aatrox, not too much, obviously. I guess it's only been a couple of games, or no, it's been 3 games, right? Yeah. So I tried the attack speed jungle item. I tried Jarum's Fist. I got Jarum's Fist again. In these two items, it's a component. I mean, I leveled the Jarum's Fist up all the way before I upgraded to those tier 3 items. So, but I mean, look at my score, right? It's just kind of meh. It's nothing special. Um, so okay, what's wrong with new Aatrox? Why is he so different from old one? Yeah, that's a good question. So Aatrox, the old A before he this recent rework, that is, Bloodthirster's been an item that has been very good on him because it gives him a shield, and that shield will actually notify his allies. Oh hey, yeah, my passive has given me attack speed, right? So I'm ready for combat. But they don't necessarily know if you can revive just by seeing the shield. So, but new Aatrox is interesting because, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like he doesn't really need Bloodthirster. All right, he's just um, he's a little bit different. So the basic strategy behind the older Aatrox would be you fight as much as you can, and you just try not to die. Like dying is bad with old Aatrox because if you do that, then your blood pool becomes 0, and then you have no attack speed. So there are actually two strategies you could use with old Aatrox. The one that I used, which maybe most people don't agree with, I don't know. I think a lot of people just buy attack speed, but I would just build like full AD and just use my blood pool for the attack speed. All right. So that's why I say I try not to die, because dying is a bad thing because it resets my blood pool. Because the blood pool is 0, doesn't give you any attack speed. But like a blood pool at like 50% gives you quite a lot of attack speed, and at 100% it gives you even more, obviously. But now new Aatrox, the blood pool, it's actually 5 bars now. So at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's all the same. There's no difference. You don't get any bonuses at all. But once you hit 5, then you get an automatic trigger of the bonuses. So that's something that's difficult for players to get used to. And I will comment on that this is the big change in Aatrox, why old builds don't work anymore. Aatrox is not an AD champ anymore. I cannot just buy Bloodthirster and expect to do well. Alright? It's just never going to happen. Not on the new Aatrox. Not unless they fix some scalings or whatever. But for right now, it seems like it's okay if you follow a particular build. So this build here, you get a Phantom Dancer first item. And then you get the Essence Reaver, I suppose. It could maybe be substituted out for something else. I'm not too sure about the specifics of the math involved. But I got this for initially 2 reasons. One, I wanted the CDR. And 2, I wanted to like get the just like more damage, right? So so it worked out pretty well, I would say. Because once you have just those 2 items, you already have 30% CDR. So then you only need like a Dust Dancer. You don't even need a Dust Dancer really. Just get like any old item that gives you 10% CDR, and then bam, you're at 40. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, so I was thinking you could also maybe substitute the Essence Reaver for Trinity Force. But I don't think Trinity Force gives as much damage as an Essence Reaver, so I don't know if it's worth it or not. But definitely, like, its critical strike is good. Like, attack speed is good. So Phantom Dancer is good. The reason attack speed is so important is because, of course, you don't get anything out of your blood pool unless you've charged it up. And, of course, if you cast all 3 of your abilities that are castable, you still only have your blood pool like 60% charged. So you still need to figure out how you're going to get that other 40%. So you just attack with your W. You have to attack actually 6 times, maybe less. It could be as little as 4, I suppose, in a team fight, because you might already have 2 attack charges on your W set up. So anywhere from 4 to 6 attacks you need to make, assuming you're at 0 on your blood pool, which you generally will be a lot of the times. That's what's been frustrating about Aatrox in the past, is you'll be like, well, I need to go to the jungle first, and I need to like jump out of the jungle with my Q or whatever. You're like, at the enemy and try to fight them, and that was always really awkward, because you're like, I gotta use my Q to get into the fight, and that just doesn't make sense. You're just too predictable that way. So unfortunately, the old Aatrox, the predictability kind of brought him down in the higher rankings, I think. Just against better opponents or players that have played Aatrox. Like, they're gonna know, okay, his blood pool's high. You know, he's gonna try to like get into fighting before his blood pool drops down too low because he's been out of combat for a little bit, right? So it was always pretty awkward. So now that isn't to say that it's easy to fill his blood pool now. Like, I don't know why his ultimate's only like 20% per, champion. But anyways, so but if you buy the attack speed, then it's a lot quicker to get that 4 to 6 attacks is the point. So that's pretty helpful. Another thing to keep in mind is, you could just use your E. Use your E to try to initiate or just kind of build up your blood pool a little bit while your allies do some initiating maybe or something, and then you can jump in once your allies have kind of done some stun locking or whatever. And so, I mean, your E might be able to set them up if you can land it on somebody. The range is pretty decent on it. And the great thing is there's no cost on your E anymore. So you just keep using it. Same thing with your Q. There's no cost. That's one thing that was interesting about the W in the past is even though there was a cost on it when it was toggled on, you could overwhelm the cost with if you bought enough lifesteal. And I think he still needs lifesteal. I can't, unless maybe you're building an AP Aatrox, maybe you don't need it. But I'm skeptical that would even work because the only ability that scales with AP is his ultimate, which they should probably think about changing, or they could just make his ultimate scale with something else like critical strike or whatever. I don't know, to do extra damage. But anyways, so so this is like, we could download the replay and watch it real quick. So I don't know, you could probably play him in top lane instead of jungle, I'm supposing, but I'm not very good at top lane myself. I'm better in jungle, so that's where I've found to make him work. So another item I was thinking of getting, if I were to decide to get a Trinity Force to combo with it to get that 40% CDR, it could be like a Black Cleaver. That would make some sense if you still want to go for the Bloodthirster because it's like all thematic or whatever, because he's like Blood Rush and all that. Then yeah, you might want to get a Black Cleaver. Another alternative might be like an Iceborne Gauntlet or something, but I'm not too keen on that idea. But it's Iceborne Gauntlet's a pretty good item, so. Okay, so here's the thing. So if you look at his scaling, right, it's like everything is AD and health pretty much. See the bonus physical damage, but like, okay, look at his passive. It actually gives you, I don't know if it says it here or not, but it gives you a base damage increase. And then I'm guessing about, I don't know for sure, that it seems like his bonus damage on his W can critically strike. If that's so, then there's a lot to this build, a lot more to it than it meets the eye like when people first looking at the new Aatrox. Like, actually, it might have been the case with the old one too. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But either way, like, the interesting thing about buying critical strikes on him is it kind of gives him some random burst, which is cool because the opponent can't just count 3 attacks. Oh, I'm gonna get damaged heavily, right? Again, so with the burst being a bit random with critical strikes, then they can't just like disengage whenever they want to and like avoid taking extra damage and let some minion take damage or another ally champion take damage instead of that. No, that doesn't work very good because the random critical strike. So that's kind of an interesting facet to the strategy. So yeah, you want to just like use your W to kill it faster, and then you jump over this wall so you can start fighting before your blood pool wears down. And then you have to smite the big thing, and then it's like you might as well just I'm not too sure how important this part is. I think I was trying to build my blood pool up, and I was like, you know, by the time I'm done with it, this guy's all dead enemies, so I just turned it off. Turned my W off, and then you just go over to the pit, and this plant is always spawns here at this time, at the beginning of the game, so you can always just attack it and jump into the epic monster pit. It happens this other side of the map too. And then that way you can just fight this thing right away and just get healed up. I always do this pretty much. It's kind of predictable. Maybe if I play some ranked at some really high level, maybe I won't have to be able to do this very often. Ambushed or something, but for now it works just fine. Oh, it looks like the enemy had a ward. Yeah, and I kind of noticed it because he started to run away as I went after him. I was like, oh, I was surprised that he warded the brush that early. But yeah, people will totally do that because they don't want to die. So you can kill one or two little raptors and you gotta smite the big one and get it out of the way. Because if you smite it, then you get healed. And it's just like pretty basic stuff. And when you get to 900 gold, that's when you recall, and then you get 3 of those attack speed items that cost 300 each, right? And then you work on your Phantom Dancer essentially. So not really a big deal, to be honest. We'll skip ahead, see how things are going. At some point, I think I might have bought a Doran's Blade, or maybe that was in a previous game, I don't know. Yeah, I did. Because I was fighting enemy champions, and I wanted lifesteal against enemy champions. Because this Hunter's Machete only gives me lifesteal against monsters. And I'm like, yeah, I want to offset, just like, damage that the enemy does to me in general. So, but I don't want to buy like a full, you know, tier 2 or tier 3 lifesteal item right now. Right, so I'm just gonna get a Doran's Blade, that little bit extra oomph against enemy champs. And you know what? I might start doing this on even just like a lot of champions that I jungle with, and see how that goes. So at this point I was like, yeah, I want to complete that item. There's no monsters in this side of the jungle, so instead of just walking all the way over to here, I can buy that item and then walk from here to there. It's about the same distance anyways. And so we'll go ahead and skip ahead. You can see the item progression of the players. Like, the Evelyn's doing fine, so it's not like I had a really terrible, you know, opponent kind of made me look good or whatever. Let's just skip ahead much later. So how do we figure out where I am? So I tried. So I'm kind of trying to bait him out, and apparently it kind of worked. Nautilus helped out a lot though too. Yeah, I'm sure there are more interesting fights than that one. Let's jump ahead further. See where am I now? What items do I got now? Okay, so the Essence Reaver is done. And oh, yeah, the enemy just killed Varus, right? Yeah, and this is actually an interesting fight. Like, I didn't know how well I would do here, but I decided to jump in there and see what I could do. She knocks me back just as I move, which sucks. Then I'm like slowed back. I'm able to jump on them again. So one thing that was always a little bit annoying is if you missed your E on the old Aatrox, then it's like you lost that health for nothing. But now if you miss it, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You're not like losing any health. And you definitely try again. Also, like, there's actually, like, your W being off, like on the old Aatrox and on the new Aatrox, it's not really useful to have it off, in my opinion. Like I said, maybe that's different if you want to do an AP build, but once again, I don't know why you would, because only ultimate scales with AP anyway. But yeah, is W off scaling with health? Like, even if it's scaled well, it still wouldn't be something that you would do very often. You just keep it on and just lifesteal, just like the old Aatrox. But the main difference here is you just have to build around your blood speed. That's why I went for the attack speed. I even got attack speed boots. Like I said, you might not need attack speed boots if you go Journey Force. I think you really need armor boots or something like that, or swiftness boots. Go ahead and buy those boots, and you could, I guess you could make up for the attack speed with other items, like a Trinity Force, for example, gives you a lot of attack speed. So I think I was, I guess I was just farming away at this point. I was just kind of watching over the track or something like that. And then I'm like, okay, let's do the dragon, right? So Nautilus and I are the only ones around, and the enemy comes. So this is pretty admirable of Nautilus to be around and make sure he's not running. So just back and then so I'm actually able to just, oh, I think I messed up with that Q. I didn't know where Vayne was, and I thought the other guy was dead, but I wasn't sure, so I Q on just in case. I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. But yeah, Nautilus ends up dying. I may have misplayed. I might have been able to jump on Vayne, but I didn't really know where she would be, so. And you can't really see her when she goes invisible with her Maybe if I played a lot of Vayne myself, then I might have been able to predict what she was going to do. But... So at this point, I'm not even sure if this is all that great of a play here. I'm just kind of like trying to do tower damage. I'm not sure what down, trying to kill whatever. And then I'm like, well, if all the enemies are reviving, I'm just gonna go back off now. I'm all about myself. So. Just like first diving in. The new everyone lately is pretty sneaky. Like, it's kind of hard to see her. Sure. I feel like they must have buffed her invisibility at some point. Anyway, there's probably gonna be another fight soon. I mean, it's towards the end of the game. There's lots of fighting. Oh, this was a point where I wasn't sure if I wanted to call right. So I think figure it's a good idea. I mean, the tower's basically dead. Why try to pull it away? But then this one could take some damage. We do have some allies that can come to it, so I'm not too worried about it. But I don't want to like die in the tower either. So I mean, take a look at what item I got. If anything, I think I upgraded my jungle item. So. So you're like doing some kind of weird crowd. I'm not sure if this is. So my blood pool hasn't popped yet. It's kind of cool because when you get a lot of CDR, then it'll pop up more. So I think that's And then like being able to use your E and Q off is a big deal as well. So I think like your E and Q are like you shouldn't underrate. It's pretty good. So I think CDR is fine on him in general. On the old Aatrox, I wouldn't say so. On the old Aatrox, I wouldn't CDR makes sense. But I think it's okay on the new one for sure. I'm not sure what happened here, but I think I got like snared by something. I'm not sure what. And so I finally died. I was like on a legendary stick or whatever. And Ari like left the fight a little bit earlier than I expected. Well, her health was low, but and I could have probably backed off to respect that she probably didn't want to fight. But anyway, I wasn't sure what all happened, to be honest, and I'm still not entirely sure, but whatever. Definitely I got kind of overwhelmed as either died too fast or just didn't join the fight. Now, if I were to do this all over again, and I would probably go for Banshee's Veil as a 6th item to go with my jungle item. I'm not entirely sure that this is the best jungle item to get, but it seems okay because it gives health, and health is never bad. But like, just by itself, it doesn't do very much, right? So I kind of want another health item. So the Banshee's Veil kind of makes sense because it prevents you from getting locked down. So I think in general, it might actually be a core item on him now. Because if he's not attacking, he's not going to be able to burst throughout his damage, you know? And like, especially when his blood pool is ready, he wants to still do damage. If he's not dealing damage, then he's not a threat. They're not going to try to trigger his death, right? I mean, it's the same one as before, it just revives. It's just that it's attached to his passive, and the passive itself changed. And it seems like, I don't know too much about the math of it all, but it seems like if you get a Dance of Death, like, it's a lot harder for them to burst you down, right? But you could still get bursted down during the duration of the passive. So at that point I just walked to the jungle. I still have to go on and started on a camp. Yeah. So you're able to tank quite a lot of punishment with the Death Stance. So that might be the new core lifesteal item for him. You might be able to get away with getting some more lifesteal items, but I wouldn't buy them early because you really need the attack speed. And I feel like the best way to get attack speed is not by buying Wits End or Nashor's Tooth, but get Critical Strike because it gives you some burst, which makes you more of a threat, and it gives you something to do with the bonuses from your blood pool. So yeah, with the Critical Strike, then I think you're a lot more viable as a champion, and that's a good thing. So I think that's definitely the build: the Phantom Dancer into Essence Reaver, or get something else that has attack speed, like Trinity Force or something. But yeah, just because it scales with AD and health doesn't mean you should be buying those stats. It's kind of strange, but true. But yeah, you like with an Essence Reaver, that's still a lot of AD, so it seems practical. The thing is, you're very reliant on attack speed. Like, you don't get any from your pool unless it's at 100%. So, and you don't get to that unless you have a lot of attack speed. So unlike the old Aatrox, where it was viable to not build lots of attack speed on him, you totally need some on him now. So yeah, definitely give that some thought. And think, like Aatrox mains, they might have a long, with it's going to take them a while to figure it out. Maybe if they haven't already figured it out, then they would like to know. And so I've kind of figured it out, and I think that'll be good for them. And anybody that wants to pick up a new champion and hasn't played Aatrox yet, they'll definitely appreciate that. Um, but yeah, if you're like me and you just you have a lot of champions and maybe you don't want to take the time to learn a particular champion over again, then just by yourself, then maybe you can learn it from watching this.